Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com. Welcome back to those of you who went down yesterday's series of rabbit holes that I led you. Welcome back. I appreciate that you returned and that you weren't put off by those videos. Today I thought I'd do something kind of lighthearted. One of my viewers was commenting on a video that I did a long time ago on the Spanish Tarot, which when I had it, it was one of my formative decks. Now this particular deck is a replacement, and I must have either damaged or lost cards from the original deck that I had, because in those old days I traveled. I sometimes would do fairs, I would go places, I would do events, and sometimes cards unfortunately got lost, especially tragic when it was a favorite deck, and my Spanish Tarot was a favorite deck. Now this one was a replacement deck. I don't know when I bought it, but recently enough that there's a barcode on the bottom. But at any rate, I digress. This person was commenting on a video I did on the Spanish Tarot, and it made me remember with nostalgia how much I used to love using that deck, and I haven't used it in recent years, really. Maybe the past 2 or 3 years I haven't even reached for it. So I thought I would do a demonstration reading using it. Now, the other thing I thought I would do, combine it with in a lighthearted way, would be, what about those times when you do a reading, right, and you neglect it to take out cards like, well, of course, I shuffled the deck so well, now they're not in there. Cards like this, right? So there's usually, a 78 card tarot deck usually comes with 80 cards, because probably the publishing company allowed for 80 cards, right? So there's usually 2 extra cards in any tarot deck, at least 1, right? So sometimes you leave them in there by mistake, and how embarrassing that could be. If you're doing a reading for a client and they're there, right? And you're doing a reading and that pops up, kind of looks like you're not being very professional. Now, I would agree that I would pick them up and apologize, because we're only human beings, and redo the reading. However, if I were doing a reading for myself, or if I was in a private situation where I was doing it for somebody in my family or something like that, or somebody very close to me, and that popped up, I just might take the opportunity to use that card as part of the reading. I might pull an additional card and put it on top of it, but I just might go there. I just might take a look at that card and say, the universe knew, I appealed to the universe before I did this reading. I asked them for a meaningful reading. The universe knows more than I, and the universe knew that I left this card in there. So I would take it as part of the reading. Now, that's how I feel, right? But if you have a paying client, they might not feel that way. And so for that reason, I would lay another card on top to make the client feel a little more confident, or I would just redo the deck, just redo it. But I would keep that message in the back of my mind when I did the next reading. I think I would. Okay, so because this, I don't want to do a serious reading with these 2 cards left in the deck. So I'm going to come up with a fictitious reading, telling the universe that this is a demonstration reading, and then I'm using these 2 things in there, and if the universe wills it, to please allow at least one of these cards to pop up in this reading to see how we might integrate it in an actual reading. I hope that's interesting to you. Okay, so let me go off camera, come up with a question that would be suitable as a demonstration read. I'll do my signature spread, because that will allow us to have more opportunity for one of these cards to pop up. And see you on the other side. Okay, so don't ask me why, but when I was handling and mixing the cards, trying to come up with a question, I suddenly had a flash of Love Boat. Remember that show from, I guess, the 70s or 80s? It was a cheesy show about people going on a cruise, and the escapades while they were on vacation. And it usually always ended up with love matches or people reconciling with family members that they lost long ago or whatever. So I just used that as my imaginative point of view. And I just decided to come up with a question about, say, an older couple who is planning a cruise ship voyage, and what escapades they will have on this cruise ship voyage. So that's I'm just giving you how my mind went and how I came up with this question. But it's a totally fictitious question. So I guess we can look at it as a plot for a Love Boat, or just, it's a fictitious couple who's going on a cruise, and what kind of adventures will they have? All right. And remember, we're hoping that either one of those two extra cards will appear in the spread. So we have 5 swords, and what a pretty deck this is. This is the Fournier, the Emperor, Star, and I'm leaving a little extra space over here for the quint cards, remember. Okay, sorry. This was the next card, the Bachelor, the Magician. Three batons. Yay! The Spanish Tarot Espanol. Okay, what clues are there? Well, it's foreign. It's written in Spanish, so maybe there's an indication that there could be a Spanish country involved, or Spanish-speaking country involved. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad it worked out that way, Okay, so we have 2 swords. So we have a pair of swords. We have a baton. We have 3 trump cards. Another baton. And another sword, which is also uneven in number. A 5 and a 7. Okay, so, in the case of doing the quint cards, obviously there would be no numeric value for this. So I would add, I'll just start with this one. We'd have 1 and 3 is 4. That would be the Emperor. So I'm obviously going to have to pick an Emperor from another deck. So here we have 5 and 4, which would be 9. Right, 5 and 4 would be 9, and 17, which would be 21. So the World card I could pull from this deck. And then 2 and 4 would be 6, and 6 and I think this is a 7. 6 and 7 would be 13. Okay, so let me pull those cards. Recall that I'll have to pull a card from another deck to satisfy the Emperor up top. Alrighty, so I don't remember what I said that the quint card would be for the top row, but I don't think I said it was the Emperor, or did I? I don't recall. But it did end up being the Emperor, and I had to pull it from another deck. This row also ended up with 1 and 3 ended up being the Emperor, and I had to pull that from another deck. So I pulled that from the Classic Tarot. And then here we have 13, which I was able to pull from the Spanish deck. And then the quint card for the whole kit and caboodle is the World card. Now, right off the bat, the first thing that I think everybody sees is that there are 1, 2, 3 emperors represented in this spread. Right? And a death card, and a card with a foreign language written on it, So the first thing that I think would pop into my mind would be cautionary. Be extremely careful, especially if you're going to a foreign country, a country that speaks another language, and if it happens to be Spanish, that's extra information. The emperors, to me, mean authority. And in the context of the question, if we're interpreting a question regarding travel, right, then 3 emperors would really signify authority figures. The death card would suggest danger. You'll also notice that there are no cups or coins in this spread. The only suits that are represented are suits that could be seen as weapons. We have 1, 2, 3 swords. We have 2 baton cards, right? So I would say be careful that you don't get robbed. Be careful, that you're not held up, or that you're not a victim of a mugging, right? We have the Magician card, which can be a card of deception, of conning, right? We do have the star card, so there's that. That's hopeful, so maybe not all is lost. And we do have the world card. So the suggestion here is that things will turn out. Hopefully they will turn out. However, however, you have to be extremely careful, right? I would express caution to this couple, and for all the reasons I just mentioned. But I would try to end it on an upbeat note, because if they're going on a vacation, they don't want to be told that all the thousands of dollars that they've just spent is going to go down the tubes. Don't take the trip. But I would preface it with just be very, very careful, be cautious, right? Now, I mentioned that I might have picked another card, for that if I had a client, right? So this is the top card, but I don't know if you trust me to believe that that's the top card. Just for shits and grins, I'm going to look at it and see what it was. Okay, it was another card of a weapon. All right, but I'm not going to use it because just in case you didn't believe me or whatever. So I'm going to do another quick shuffle to pull a card. Okay, it's another weapon card, right? So and it's even more threatening than the Two of Batons. So it would not alter my reading, with the exception that Six Swords is hopeful, because it means that perhaps something could be worked out in the legal department with the authorities. And since we have the Star in the World card, I guess it would be a further indicator that things would probably work out okay. But it even also at the same time increases the likelihood of something happening to them, or them participating or being part of something that maybe they wouldn't want to be a part of. And so with the foreknowledge of being careful, things might turn out and work out okay. So I hope this was a fun video for you. It was fun for me. Until next time, friends, peace, stay well, be kind, and do no harm.